afford the time to keep working your full-time job while you start one of these small businesses, it's a great way. While it might hurt you a little bit in time, it'll definitely help you if you make a mistake somewhere. Everybody is a little different, so sometimes you have to burn the boats and go all in. Just go out there and try a few different things. You never know, you'll find something you love.
Welcome, everyone, to the Road Less Traveled Show. This is a show about people who were successful in a past career and left that career to go down a different path. I'm your co-host, Richard Coyne.
And I'm your co-host, Bill Zahller.
On today's show, we have Frank Patalano. Frank, we're so glad you're with us today.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely, Frank. Well, thank you again for being on the Road Less Traveled Show. We appreciate it. Well, we can just start off with a little bit of your background. What was your first career you headed down, and then we'll get into how long you were in that line of work.
Sure. So I was a full-time middle school teacher. I taught mostly history. Everything, though, a couple of years it was American, sometimes geography, and sometimes some ancient.
Yeah, excellent. And then how long did you do that?
I did that for 17 years.
Okay. Oh, great. And then what did you transition into after you left that?
So while I was doing it, I started to buy a few small apartments and some single-family houses. And eventually I generated enough income that I left my full-time job to just hang out and do real estate full-time.
Excellent. Oh. What particular part of real estate are you doing? Is it fix and flips, buy and hold, apartment buildings?
So I've pivoted as the market has changed, but I'm mostly investing in syndications right now as a limited partner and as a general partner on the active side and the passive side.
Excellent.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. So, Frank, as you think back to your teacher days, my daughter is a middle school teacher. And anyway, I'm sure you have a few funny stories there. Is there anything that you can share that, made you scratch your head? Why am I a teacher?
Well, I do remember one story real quick. Let me just think about the whole thing. When I was teaching 7th grade, I had this boy and he was selling candy bars, and he had thrown some in the trash, and it was just funny. Like I said, they were selling them for the wrestling, and he basically asked me, he says, "Hey, can I borrow some money?" And I said, "Well, what's my return on investment here? What do I have for assets and stuff like that?" And basically he told me this story. He was lying to me that he had melted some on top of his refrigerator, and come to find out, what he had done was that he was selling 100 grand bars. And I don't know if you know, but they're actually two different pieces. Yeah. So he thought he had actually broke the candy bars and he was throwing them out. So it was just a funny story about, I try to explain to him how one man's trash is another man's treasure. Yeah. And the average kid, even if it was broken, would still buy the candy bar from us. Right. It was just another one of those fun, always learning experiences.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I thought you were going to say he took it and broke it in two pieces and sold each of them the same amount. So he just doubled his inventory.
That would have been pretty cool. No, he was too busy throwing them out.
There was one time when I had actually literally the night I met my future wife, we were out in Washington, D.C. in a particular area, and it was a street party going on. It's a longer story, but anyway, we popped into McDonald's to get something to eat late at night, and this little street hustler came up and was trying to sell me chocolate in McDonald's, and so I played the dad card on him, and I'm like, well, I hope you're getting good grades in school, I really, blah blah blah. It was pretty funny, but it sort of left a mark on my wife that hey, maybe I'm a good guy, right? So there you go. So,
you're a keeper.
That's right.
Well, excellent. Well, Frank, what was a deciding factor that made you, or when you decided to leave the middle school teaching? It sounded like you were building up over time. You're accumulating those. You said you got a certain point replaced your income, and that was your ability to leave. Is that what you're waiting for, or is it one day you just woke up and said, I want more control of my time, or what exactly was that decision like?
So my wife and I were both school teachers, and obviously you start to accumulate money if you're not spending it all, and you have to decide for yourself, what are you going to do with it? You're going to donate it all, or you're going to invest it. And over time, I tried a few different ways to invest, and after investing for 5, 6, 7 years, gradually growing, not necessarily increasing what we spend at home, you get to the point, it's like, you know what? This isn't worth it anymore. Every year, just the way the politics of schools and the administration, and it's not even completely their fault, but just the way in which we as a people in a world are changing. It's like it's not worth it. I love the kids. I still do. I have 3 children of my own, so it's still a fun time. But it's different when you have a lot more of your own time to do things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, teachings are very rewarding things, but at the same point in time, if you're again, you got a curriculum to teach, but at the same point in time, there's so much political stuff that comes into how a curriculum is delivered these days. To me, it's got to be maddening, and I don't know if that's a little bit about your experience or not, but it can be frustrating. I mean, again, kids need to have good experiences, and it should be them who forms their opinions rather than a doctrine being forced upon them. And
well, one of the cool things I was able to do was that I had what they call a bonus class, and my goal was to improve their scores for testing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I persuaded the administration to allow me to teach business, stocks, and finance.
Yes.
So I had a class, 6th graders. I was teaching about the stock market and investing, which it was funny because over time, I mean, it wasn't specifically in stocks, but I learned stuff myself that I was able to teach and use. And some of my students now they're in their 20s, and I see them at my local RIA and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Nice. Yeah, Kiyosaki talks about that all the time, and he's been on that warpath for many, many years. Just how about the financial education is so lacking in this country. Who teaches you about money? Your parents. Are your parents good with money? Maybe not. And if that's your only exposure, how are you supposed to learn that there's another way? So I so wish I'm trying to impart on my kids some of the things I'm learning now that when they're much younger. I'm hoping it'll pay dividends down the road for them as they are just now starting their adult lives, kind of thing. Yeah. So
I certainly hope that catches on nationally, because I think I just saw recently this week a headline about Florida passed some financial literacy in high school classes, going to be mandatory, I believe, on that, which is I think everybody should have some kind of basis. I mean, any more people can't even balance a checkbook because they don't have checkbooks really. It's all debit cards and credit cards, and so I mean, just some basic understanding of budgeting and whatnot, I think would be huge to have everybody have.
Yeah, yeah. So Frank, as you were moving beyond teaching and obviously into your world of real estate that was being able to support you and your family full time, things like that, and as you started doing your own deals, were there some obstacles you had to overcome along the way?
Well, I mean, like I said, I ended up pivoting a little bit because as different parts of the market heated up, I kept looking for that new opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, for a while I did some small multifamily duplex, triplex kind of stuff. And then it's funny because obviously they're all completely steals at this price compared to now. But I was like, you know what? The prices don't look as good. And I started to do some single families. And in my market, single families are not as profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But and then eventually I pivoted to do some commercial stuff, offices, and always looking for new opportunities. And sometimes I do a little too much of trying to time the market, but just I'm out there looking for deals, and if I see something I think is a deal, I'll go after it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Where do you typically invest? Is it close to, you're based out of Rhode Island? Is it close to that area, or do you invest in different regions, or?
I was doing exclusively Rhode Island until about 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but no, right now I've been investing nationwide. I'm in about 9 different markets right now as a passive investor, doing other people's deals. And then on the active side, I'm active in Texas and Idaho right now. But whatever. I mean, there's 4 hours away. I'm from New Hampshire. I bought two triplexes in New Hampshire last year. We just closed on a hotel in Punta Cana on Monday. So, always looking for new opportunities.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Some international exposure now.
Yeah.
But we always talk about that too. And we think it's a good idea. And if anybody asks us to, I mean, we're big proponents, I guess, of not only sponsor diversification, but that comes along with geographic diversification. If one area sponsor, so again, you spread your eggs kind of out like you're doing, like you said, multiple deals, multiple areas, and I think it's a good idea for risk management.
Yeah, I'm very big on diversification. So while I love Rhode Island as a place to live, it's not the best place to invest economically. Some people would call it tax hell. They've been on CNBC, I think, one of the worst places to start a business for a
Ooh,
number of years. But I mean, I've
ooh,
still done well here.
yeah.
But overall, if this market doesn't do bad, it's usually first in recession and last out. So
Mm.
I had to start diversifying quickly.
Right. Probably not the tagline that one on the Chamber of Commerce thing, tax hell, Rhode Island, come here. Excellent. Well, Frank, can you think back? What was one of your first victories as you transitioned to the real estate side?
So my first victory. So I'll just talk about one of the first properties I bought.
Mhm.
I bought a triplex in one city away from where I live now. It was a foreclosure. At the time in 2009, I paid what it was for sale on market for, and I probably could have got it cheaper.
Mhm.
And I didn't even make money for the first couple of years on it, because what happened was is that, number one, it's a learning experience, and number two, the first year you had to redo one of the heating systems. The second year was a roof. Third year was a bad eviction. The next year we put in a driveway, which also clogged the sewer line. So it took a few years. But what was good for me, and everybody's a little different, was that I kept my full-time job for a few years that I was doing this.
Yeah.
So I didn't need the money. I call it like the growing tornado that just kept going. And even right now, I mean, I am making more money in real estate. My wife's still officially teaching, so we don't need to pull any money out. I could if I had to, and I've told her she's welcome to leave whenever she wants. But she loves safety. She loves her job. She likes the comfort of having insurance paid for through her work and everything else. So it's like,
Mhm.
fine, if you want to be happy and work, go for it. I'll take trips with or without you whenever you're ready to go. So you want to hear a funny story, guys? I asked my wife, this is about 2 months ago. I said, "Hey, you want to go away for a weekend?" And she says, "Does it involve real estate?" I said, "Yes." So, like I said, I went to the Dominican Republic without her, with a couple guys, which was pretty fun. But she was welcome to come. But she enjoys having kids at home. She's more of a homebody, and she
Mhm.
loves teaching. So
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, it
Good.
sounds like the Dominican trip was profitable if you just closed on that asset. So
definitely.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of gave a funny story, unless you want to add something else. But we always like to kind of hear something humorous has been more recent in your new world. Tell another story if you like, but we can move on to the next question if that's good.
I'll hold it just in case. I'll see if I can think of another one as we go through other questions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Well, Frank, yeah, excellent. Well, where are you today on your journey? Like I said, you said you've pivoted a few times, the market changed, you've changed, of course, and you just mentioned the hotel you purchased down there in the Dominican Republic. So, is there any particular? Are you looking more to do more hotels, or is it just things of opportunity? Where are you kind of on your journey?
So I've been trying to obviously look at real estate deals, but also concerned on where we are in the market, especially if we have rising interest rates. So we've started to move into other parts of real estate. For example, I have a virtual assistant business. We actually
Mhm.
hire people from, I think we're in 3 different countries right now. Basically, I figured out a way to help my friends put more hours into the day. So it's called a real agent helper.
Mhm.
And my partner on the hotel is actually also my partner on that business as well. So it worked out pretty well. He's very good on the operational side. I'm a little bit of a talker, so it works out.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
excellent.
Good. Good. So, Frank, in your travels, in what you do, in shifting from teaching, which again is helping to mold minds of our younger kids and things like that, is there something that you can share that you do now, perhaps through your businesses, in terms of some sort of way to give back?
Well, I mean, technically, I'm still educating all the time now, which is
Hmm.
pretty fun.
Hmm.
So you see behind me, I have the CashFlow Kings logo. We have our own podcast,
Okay.
and our tagline is motivate, educate, duplicate.
Hmm.
Motivate people to do better, educate them on real estate investing, and have them duplicate the process. I also run my local RIA.
Oh, okay.
Basically, they passed the baton to me about 3 years ago. The guy that founded it was very much like a nonprofit club kind of atmosphere. And right now, I've taken the torch and tried to keep it that way. And we have over 100 people that come to every meeting once a month, which is really nice.
That's great. Yeah. Excellent.
Absolutely. Was there something you've recently implemented, Frank, in your business that's helped you achieve your goals and to scale?
I probably could be better at doing some of that. I've never been good with that, but I have been starting to crack down and use the calendars more, if nothing else, and spend more time just being mindful that I really need to sit and go through email so much time during the day instead of having 12 14,000 emails in your inbox. You got to cut it down a little bit, or at least go back through.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And do you utilize the virtual assistant a lot to offload a lot of the tasks to help you free up more of your focus on the real estate side?
I do some, but my partner Pedro, he does a lot more than I do.
Okay.
He's had a virtual assistant for about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
So.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Frank, is there some advice you might share with somebody who's considering making a path change?
I would say, and everybody's different, but if you can afford to keep working, if you can afford the time to keep working your full-time job while you start one of these small businesses, it's a great way, because then while it might hurt you a little bit in time, it'll definitely help you if you make a mistake somewhere. Like I said, everybody is a little different, so sometimes you have to burn the boats and go all in. But I was lucky enough that I didn't have to. I mean, we've started businesses with less than $5,000, so and just go out there and try a few different things. You never know, you'll find something you love.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, it definitely, everybody has to figure out what's the right formula for them. There is no one way. You're absolutely right. I mean, certain people are going to, have that need for security so much more that they're going to be very, very cautious and take a while to kind of make the shift. Perhaps it's a certain dollar amount of money in the bank that's the trigger for them, things like that. But I like your advice that says, try a few different things. You got to be passionate about what you do to want to leave where you are right now. And if you may have a great idea, and if that doesn't seem to start to take root after working on it a little bit, well, then maybe it's okay to shift to something else. Fail fast forward, we always say. Find something you like, but don't dwell on it. Just try to work at it to make it work. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I will say is, especially in regards to real estate, we all know there is no perfect property. So if I was waiting for that perfect property, I would never have bought anything. Every property has had problems. Your job is to try to fix some of those problems and move on. I mean, I've bought properties that I've bought no money down with tenants in place, and you thought it was going to be perfect, and the tenants were late on paying 33 months out of 36. So it's like,
at least you're consistent.
Yeah. Oh, we bought a property that it was during COVID. It did great, and this particular resident was a 7-year resident. And we got to the point where we were doing renovations. So, you make a decision. Do you want to renew somebody, or do you want to let them know that we're not going to renew you? Well, when we looked at their credit history, they were late 90% of the time over the past 7 years. So we're like, no, we're not going to renew you. Listen, wish you well. I mean, they did pay, but it's, we don't want to make our money on collection fees, on late fees. We prefer to have our cash, according to the contract, right?
Yep.
So
some people make a lot of money on collection fees, but no, I'd prefer that they pay on time. I have friends that give discounts if you pay early, stuff like that. So
yeah, we've seen that also. Yeah, and it depends on the type of property too. But we've seen large amounts that's written into the T12 for other income or fees, and if you turn that and get better client or tenants in there that are going to pay on time, that's you have to back that out of it for the better management and better cash flow, I guess, management of that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Frank, what's one of the best ways for our listeners to be able to get a hold of you and find out more about what you're doing, more about your podcast? And
so I am all over social media, but the best way is probably through Instagram. We have it's called the CashFlow Kings, and we have about 14,000 followers on there. my name, Frank Patalano, Patalano. You can find me on Facebook, stuff like that. Those are the easiest ways.
Okay. Well, excellent. We'll put links to the show notes below so people can
Thanks.
easily find you. Absolutely. Well, Frank, we really enjoyed the conversation with you today and wish you continued success in your future endeavors.
Thanks, guys. It was great to be on, and I hope to spend more time with you guys too. You never know. I love investing with new partners all the time.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Frank, we really like to thank you for being on. We'd also like to thank our listeners. Please continue to give us a 5-star rating so we can bring you more great content like our show today with Frank Patalano. And we also want to remind everyone that Park Capital Partners sponsors the show. We appreciate, reaching out and talking with our folks, our listeners. Please don't forget that we have the Park Capital Partners Foundation, which is a 501c C3 nonprofit. That is something that Park Capital Partners funds, as well as we make a donation to honor our investors when they invest with us. And we give them a choice of choosing from 15 existing charities. And finally, we also have the Park Capital Value Add Fund that is open today for investments. And we also have an acquisition that is part of that fund, Terrace at Butler. That is a fantastic property. We're super excited about it. Please reach out to us. I'd love to tell you about it, and hope to have you join us. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate it. And remember, the road less traveled may be calling you. We recommend that you listen and take action. Thanks for joining.